So, we've covered so far what is your priority, who is and what is priority to you. And if you don't mind, I'm going to share Ashley, priority is her child, and secondary is herself. Camille, priority is herself first, and secondary it is her children. Myself, for me, is primary is God and myself, and secondary would be husband, family, friend, in that order. Because I believe if I do not take care of myself, I cannot be well or good for anyone else. So that is what we covered so far, and we also talked about what we thought the discussion topic meant. Let's discuss your future. Most people think about other things than themselves. For an example, Ashley said business strategy, and Camille said planning, self-care, pamper, fasting, praying. So we cannot fulfill those other aspirations if we don't take care of ourselves. So we already know that. That was the first half of our conversation. We're only going to have about 2.5 topics today. So we get into the second one, we get to the half one, because I don't want this to be long. My plan is to only have this for subject for an hour every Monday at 8:30. So if you're just tuning in, thank you so much for joining Charlotte Brown. I am your host. As we progress with these topics, more people will come in, and I will continue to invite many. This is a last minute thing, so I did not invite a lot of people. Just key people who I knew had different perspectives and different thoughts. So I wanted to share those different perspectives and thoughts with you on this platform. So building relationships. So we talked about building significant relationships, having plans, a daily plan. So we know now 10-year, 5-year plan, 1-year plan is not good enough. We need to plan for the day, for the week, of what we're going to do, and we're going to put those things in perspective on top of our goals and visions so that we can move forward. All right, consistency. Can you put yourself in a position to do things on a daily basis? So we're going to talk about consistency, showing up and showing out. You ever heard your teacher say, be your best at what you could do? Let people know. Show them what you can do to be your best. So when I say showing up and showing out, that means you're going beyond and above the call of duty. You're doing things extraordinary. You're doing everything with excellence. Everything that you touch turns to gold. It is so orderly that people look and say, wow, because now you stand out. You stand out because you're doing things that goes against the norm. And guess what? Those are simple things. Integrity. Being consistent. Showing someone you care. Really be into someone's conversation. Have you ever had a dialogue and it really be a monologue? I mean, that's one of my pet peeves. If I'm sharing something with you, respond to me. Don't respond to me with the answer or a question or onto another topic. So, those are the things that I want to talk about. Consistency, showing up and showing out above and beyond. And then our last two topics, we're going to talk about the look and thinking beyond the box. I yield the mic now that you know what the subject is at hand, and please share your stories.
Okay, I guess I'll go, because I believe Camille might still be out. So, yes, I definitely think that you should be good at what you do. So, here's the thing. Not everybody goes up and beyond, because some people are just mediocre. That's, what it is. And not everybody has the same type of personality or is able to perform to the best of their ability at certain things because, maybe it's because they might have a disability, or maybe it's just something that they have that's going on where their performance isn't always there. You know what I mean? So I do believe in perfecting your craft, though. A lot of times, if you're good at something, if you know that's exactly what you're here for, I think you should go for it. because a lot of people a lot of people think success is being wealthy, and that's not true. Because a lot of people that are wealthy, some of them don't know their purpose. So a lot of them are like, "What am I here for?" That's why you hear about these high suicide rates. So I feel as though if you know what your purpose is and you perfect that, you can do whatever you can put your mind to. So that is something that you should think about on an everyday basis. So I definitely believe you're right in that stance. So I'm going to yield the mic and then pass it along to someone else.
So I love your perspective, and I like I like your worldview of things, and the way you put things out, for one to think. But this is discussing your future, and again, this goes back to what I said earlier. This is proving my point. I'm going to give you a perspective from me, and I'm going to share my stories because I'm leading so that you will understand, so that you can lead too in your life. And when I asked you, how does that pertain to you being consistent? To you, we know what other people can have, and we're aware, hopefully, that there are other levels of this, that people are mediocre and they don't go above and beyond. That's why you have the rich and you don't have you have the rich and people who are not rich. That's why you have the have and the have not, or that's why you have indifferences. So I'm interested in understanding about you and your consistency, and you showing up and showing out above and beyond. What have you done? And if you're not at that level, or do you have an interest in going above and beyond? I yield the mic.
So basically, I'm consistent when it comes to the care for my mom. I know that.
I think you went out a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. So a lot of them think that I have a degree in nursing because I know so much about her health, and I let them know, like, listen, that's my mom. It's my job to take care of her, and I'm going to make sure that she receives the best care. So if I need to know the medical terms, if I need to know the medication, if I need to know what her care plan is, so that I can pretty much get everybody on the same page on board, then that's what I'm going to do as her child. So basically, that's one of the things that I'm consistent with, even when it comes to serving my community. Just like I said, I'm a busy person. I have a couple of jobs. I also run a nonprofit organization. But when it comes to our community, when it's community-based things, if somebody asks me specifically, hey, Ashley, can you come out and support me with this? Definitely. When I tell somebody I'm going to come out, I'm going to show up, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I make sure that that's something that I prioritize, because our community, needs help. And especially when it comes to our youth, because youth are our future. They're the ones that's going to carry us ahead and above and beyond. And that's why, my son is my first priority, because I know that he's going to be one of the keys to that future. So I need to make sure that I'm preparing him for the next steps, so that way he knows to never ever turn his back on the community. I always preach to him unity, unity, unity. Pull people up, don't push them down. So those are some of the things that I'm consistent with. And there are a few other things as well, but I'm just going to leave it at that. That way I don't take up too much time. So I'm going to yield.
Okay, so I really enjoyed that, and we're gonna move along. But I want you to think again, what for your personal self, for yourself, when you think of the terms of health and wellness and mental health and wellness, holistically, and what are the things that you're consistent with to keep your body and your mind thriving? I mentioned earlier about myself, to give you an example, about my vacations. The second one that I did not mention is I like to sit by the water. And when I sit by the water, I can recollect my thoughts, and I do things to help me improve, right? So Camille says she will be back. So yes, if April, you can come up to the floor, it would be great. And there's different things that I do. And if you notice, in my subject, I have not talked about what I've done for others, which I've done so much for others. I have learned to put myself in a position to be healthy, to be able to take care of others and make others a priority, not my priority. But thank you so much, Ashley. That was wonderful advice, and I commend you so much for taking care of your mom. Thank you so much. It's people like you that do what you do to keep this whole world moving the way it does. I yield the mic and come on in, Brother Rashi. So technically we have, okay, you can't hear anymore. So technically we have I'm going to give us about 10 minutes. We have 10 minutes and I'm going to wrap it up. Going to get to the next topic. Okay, great. So yeah, I don't know what happened, but yeah, we talked about making sure that you understand the questions that I'm asking are for you and for you alone. How are you consistent on building yourself, doing what you need to do to take care of yourself so that you could be able to help others? So at this time, I'm going to yield the mic to my brother Rashi and nephew. Love and nephew.
Thank you. So for your question, I think that really staying consistent and steadfast within yourself. First, because once you're consistent and involved with yourself, I guess you can say, that's when you can start helping others. I guess that's really it for now.
What are some of the things that you do to stay consistent?
So me specifically, one is praying. Praying is everything. God is everything. You know what I'm saying? You have to believe that there is a higher power out there to keep you going. Well, not understand, but you have to know that there's a higher power out there to keep you going. And then two, to just remember your purpose in life, right? Everyone in this world has a purpose in life. Me personally, I have a purpose in life, and so just reminding myself every day that you have a purpose in life and that you're going to be great. I think that's what keeps me consistent, and then knowing where I came from and knowing where I'm at now. Once I evaluate that, then that helps me be consistent within just myself and helping others. So
okay,
I close the mic.
And thank you so much for sharing it. Last but not least, how do you show up and show out for yourself? We can talk about what we do for others and what others should do, but we're talking about our individual. How do you show up and show out for yourself? Do you treat yourself just as good as you treat the next person?
So me personally, not all the time. I don't. Sometimes I can be very hard on myself, harder than on others. But that's because I know where I can be in life. So I guess that's why. But when it comes to showing off and showing out, that's really, I don't know. It's kind of like a broad question. Could you go in more detail with that?
So I'll give an example as I have before, and thank you so much for using the mic so that I could do so. So when I mean by showing up and showing out for yourself, one of the things that may seem mediocre or minute is getaways. And that's what April just shared in the text message. April is still listening. Thank you for hanging in there, April McBride. We love you. So yes, she shared that she do getaways. How often do you replenish your mind? Another thing that I mentioned that I do for myself, that I show up and show out, is feeding my body healthy foods and taking Bicopa. Bicopa helps me with my mind. I don't know if you know about the herb Bicopa, but I think you should check it out because I know that's going to help me improve. The second thing is prayer, meditation. The third thing that I show up and show out, I make sure I look good. Y'all know the song, I look good, I look fly. Yes. I make sure I do, because that helps me with my personality, who I am, who I made up to be, and with my and not being insecure. Like I want to stand out. I want to glow. I want to be a light because I want to attract people so that they can walk up to me and start asking me questions. Then hopefully whatever spews out of me given by God, that it will empower their lives as well. So that's what I do to show up and show out for myself. I do my hair. I do what I have to do. I sit in warm, long baths and water, and I light candles. I light candles in my room. Okay, I feed myself knowledge. I make sure, a lot of people who know me make sure I'm well-rounded in almost every subject. I try to be well-rounded. If I don't know a lot in it, I know some of it. I know the surface of it, what needs to be known. Those are the things I do to go show out and go above and beyond for myself. I yield the mic. Thanks for asking.
Okay. So I didn't get a chance to speak on myself, what I do to keep myself, intact. So one thing is reading that has to do a lot with my mental. It keeps me on my toes. It keeps me informed. It keeps me literate. So I really like reading. That's something I enjoy doing. And it calms me down. And also, when it comes to spirituality, I don't go off of religion based. Like, okay, so for instance, one of my board members, the president of my organization, he's a pastor, right? So he says, before our board meetings, are we able to pray? Not everybody on my board, I want a diverse board, so not everybody is Christian. Some people are Muslim, so it's a diverse type of thing. So when he says, can we pray? We, no matter what type of religion it is, we all bow our heads, because we want, out of respect, no matter what the religion is, and it keeps us leveled. And another thing is, just like you were saying, like, a lot of times you need, like, relaxation. So I love, like, long, hot baths because it clears your mind. Like all the steam, it pretty much clears your mental, your mental clarity. It makes everything, like, more clear. You can breathe easily, things like that. So, yeah, those are some of the things that I like to do to keep me grounded. I'm going to yield the mic.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Brother Rashi.
So I think some things that keep me grounded. One is music. I love music. Every type or every genre of music. I don't know. Music is just like a expression of art. You know what I mean? Everyone express themselves in music. So I think that's one way I keep myself grounded. And then another thing is talking to people. Seeing people's point of views, because everyone, has a different point of view in life. And when it comes to life, so just sharing my life experiences and getting to know other people's life experiences and how they look at life. I think those are the two major ways I keep myself grounded and I stand out. I yield the mic to Charlotte.
Thank you so much, Ashley and Rashid. So it was two things that you do. Sometimes when you talk more to people, you find out you have a lot of things in common. So two things that you both mentioned is I stay literate. I love to read. I have books. As a matter of fact, I encourage people to read a book a week or to watch 2 documentaries a week. And my most favorite thing, if you know me too, I like to sing and I love music. So that's one of the things that I show up and show out for myself. When I have those fulfillments for myself, that helps me do everything I need to do around me. And not everyone, connect those dots, because I understand where Ashley comes from. Not everyone connect those dots. And I have been in those diverse boards and been in those diverse situations where people can. Oh, thank you so much, Rashi. He texted me, say you can sing. What a blessing. April says decorating soothes me. Oh, yes, that's a good one. That's a good one. So, yeah, I am in those diverse spaces where we do respect everyone's point of view and perspective. I'm one of those people that takes everything in. I like to cipher. I like to study. I like to hear about world perspectives, because I bring it all together and it makes it good for me. So thank God I have my own in-house history buff. Yes, I do. I have my own. I'm grateful for that, to help me and keep me abreast. So it's always good to have someone. He's older than me, so he keeps me sharp, So thank you so much for sharing that. All right, so we are in the last final minutes. I'm going to wrap it up. We're going to talk about the look and going beyond. I know for a lot of years we always heard the saying, think outside the box. I tell people to go beyond the box. And one of the reasons I came up with that, it was a saying that most of you are familiar with. It's very popular and common. The sky is the limit. The sky is not the limit, because God created universes. He created beyond the sky. So it's infinity to me. So that is the way I perceive it. So I just want to pass that light on to someone about thinking beyond the box, not outside the box. Because outside the box is becoming crowded now. Because for so many years we told everybody to do that. When you go beyond and you go into the universe, you go into space, there's a lot of room. Like there's a lot of stars. So, think about what I'm saying. Wow. And people still say that the sky is the limit, But yeah, that's why I came up with that. So you'll probably see hashtags on everywhere with that for me. Think beyond the box. The look. And, it's funny because when you think about the look, I said I'm going to do the look and I'm not going to talk about style, because we all have different styles, April, she said affinity and beyond, the Buzz Lightyear. Thank you for that. So, yes, a lot of times we do that. And then Rashid said, how is the sky the limit when there's footprints on the moon? Yeah, people have to start changing their thinking. That's why I'm agreeing with Ashley. All right, so sorry for the break there. So the look. I'm a consignment shopper, okay? I like to consignments in thrift stores. I'm a thrifty person. I'm even ancient. God knows where that came from. But I like Victorian style. If you're familiar with Victorian style, I would love for my house to look like that. I'm a vintage person, so I like thrifty, and it says a lot about you. I remember one time I was 17. I think I was about to get ready to graduate high school, and I was dating this guy, and the mom was sharing some piece of wisdom with me. She said, when you get up in the morning, put on clothes and look like you're going somewhere. Don't always talk about whether you have this or have that or no money or this money. People don't know what you're going through. You walk out that door like you going somewhere. So, y'all, I took it overboard because I go above and beyond for myself and been doing it for years. If I would go to the mailbox, I would have my hair down. I didn't do makeup then, so I still don't do it now, but I wasn't big on my arching my eyebrows so much. I would clean them up, and I would put some Vaseline on my lips, and I would put some heels on, and I would walk to the mailbox. Because, you'd be surprised that you influence people and they don't from afar. You'd be surprised how you influence people and have been doing it for years from afar. They watch your lifestyle. Because as Ashley said before, you have people who are in the crowd, and you have people who are on the stage. You have the help, and you have those who are leading, and you have those who are influencing. So you never know what role you're playing in someone's life. So when they see you, you got to have that look. You got to have that look. And you don't understand. So after a while, I had these young girls that was around my block that came to me when I got older. I was getting ready to move to Philly. And they said, when we were younger, we inspired to be like you. And I was like me? Girl, and in my head, if a bubbles was coming out my head, they said, girl, if you only knew what I was doing, you wouldn't want to be like me. So, yeah. It was because, then they told me, because the way I kept myself, the way I was always clean, and I had a polished look to them. So now, when I'm older, I feel as though I have a polished look. But no matter what you do, how you wear your hair, what clothes you put on, whatever, you want to always be presentable. So that's what I mean by the look. What do you do to have that look? And some people just like to stand out. Like sometimes I like to stand out with a shoe. You might say this common for a woman, or a purse. I can have on some thrift clothes and I have a name brand bag, or I have a custom made bag, or a custom something that makes me stand out. Because people, it says a lot about you. Your look says a lot about you. So the second part to that look is your facial expressions. How you respond to things. Are you a good listener or a hearer? What do? Are you a hearer or are you a listener? How do your face expressions respond to things? Are you into what you are doing? Are you into talking to that person you love? Are you into talking to those students? Are you into Ashley talking to the community? Rashi, are you into talking to other young people? How are you engaging with them? That look. I'm going to yield the mic now that you know the topic at hand.
Okay, I like this topic. So, for me, I wear whatever I feel comfortable with. However I feel at the moment, that's what I'm gonna wear. If it's a lax day, I'm gonna be chill, sit back, relax. But I also know how to change it up, because there are certain instances where you do have to come out and you do have to show up. So I know, as far as me, I can sit up in the corporate office with the CEOs, but I can also sit in the projects with the hood. You know what I'm saying? So I know how to change it up. Like, a lot of times, like, people just assume, like, because I get what you mean by, like, always look the part. Because a lot of people just assume, like, some people might see somebody and just assume that, that individual isn't quite kept because of the way they look. But let me tell you, I know my grandmother, right? When my grandmother passed away, Senator Anthony Hardy spoke at Senator Anthony Hardy Williams. He spoke at her funeral. He said she's a very colorful individual, and a lot of people know what he meant by colorful. My grandma got things done, and she was quite a character. And in her obituary, we have a picture of her with straight back braids on in her hair, with a hoodie on, sitting next to Johnny Cochran. But you know why she could do that? Because she was very good when it came to the community, and she knew exactly what to say and what to do in order to get things done. So it wasn't her appearance, that people were attracted to. It was her personality. The same thing that goes for me. I can, be chilling and be with the guys in the corner and talking to them and telling them, we need to get this going for our community. We need to get that going for our community. Y'all need to stop standing out here, and y'all need to start doing stuff that y'all think that's going to empower us instead of hurting us. Because at the end of the day, I know I'm just kind of going off topic, but at the end of the day, like, when I talk to them, I let them know, like, we know that y'all didn't bring these drugs and guns and stuff here, but at the same time, when y'all use them on each other, that majorly impacts our community, and I'm so strong and I stand on it. But at the same time, if it's time for me to go and talk to these corporate individuals or the politicians, I turn up. At the end of the day, like, I'm dressed head to toe, my hair is styled nicely, my dress game is, significant. And I'm not, like, I can become two different ways. I can look either very classy or very chill. Like, I don't have really a in between. And it's the same thing with my personality. I'm either, over the top and, I'm here with it, whereas though I'm pretty much interacting on a certain level, and then I can also bring it down a notch, where though I can make people feel comfortable with themselves, be in their image as well. So that way people don't think that I'm stuck up or anything like that. So, my personality or the way that I might dress or speak, I give that all. It's a given, depending on what type of crowd I'm around. Remember earlier we were talking about crowds and Les Brown and things like that. So yeah, it definitely depends. So I'm going to yield the mic and then let someone else go from there.
Thank you so much for that, Ashley. Just before you go, please let me know. Are you a listener? Are you here? What are the things that you do to engage with other people or a topic or things that are important to you and maybe even friends or family? I yield for your response.
I'm sorry, Charlotte. This is Ashley again. Was there a question for myself or?
Yes.
Okay, so you said. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? Because
are you a hearer? Are you a listener? How do you engage? Are you a visual person? How do you engage with people or things that are important to you, priority to you, or friends or family? This is a part of the second part 2 of the look. I yield the mic for your response.
Okay, so I'm a listener. I don't know what it is about me, but sometimes, like, if people are having a really hard day, if they're going through things, for whatever reason, I attract those type of individuals. Like, it has been many a time where people come up and let me know, like, what type of stress they're going through. So I don't turn them away because you never know. That could be an angel right next to you. You don't even know it. You know what I mean? So what I do is I address whatever issue they're going through, and a lot of times they feel 100% better, and it makes me feel good inside. So I love, talking to people, even if it's, something that I might not want to address. Sometimes it has to be addressed. You have to be that person to be there for individuals so that they know, you're not the only person that's here. I don't care what you're going through in your family. I don't care what you're going through, at work. I don't care. It's, always here for somebody. Somebody is always there to talk to. Because, a lot of times, our society goes through mental health issues. And since we've experienced so many different traumas, it's hard to heal. So we need each other. So I'm very family oriented. And when it comes to friends, to be honest, I don't have many, because I have to watch my circle. I have to watch who I'm around. And I lean towards my husband when it comes to that, because he's a very, very great judge of people when it comes to different personalities. And the reason why he's like that is because of how he grew up. So he always tells me, like, yeah, like, you might have grown up in West Philly, but you don't really know the streets the way I know the streets. Because I feel like in my family, it was certain things that we were able to do growing up that other kids, weren't able to do. So at the same time, that's why a lot of kids will be drawn to my household, because, if Ashley goes shopping, guess what? Her grandma's going to buy us clothes. If Ashley goes on a trip, her grandma's taking us along with her. So it was like that type of thing. So now I have to watch myself when it comes to those, certain type of friends, because they might look at me as a benefit. So yeah, it really depends. It varies. I'm gonna yield the mic.
Thank you so much. You're so passionate. So passionate. I can hear it in your voice. I love authentication. Like, and I can hear it. I can. So thank you so much for shedding light on that topic and sharing your light and continue to share your light. So we're gonna end up with our brother Rashid, then I'm gonna close out with a strong message, and then we'll just move on from there and close out. Thank you so much for joining, and I yield the mic for brother Rashid. So I don't think he heard me. So if he do come in while we're talking, that will be great. So remember what we talked about tonight? Plans for yourself. Building significant relationships for yourself. Consistency for yourself. Showing up and showing out for yourself. The look. That's your physical and your physical, if you know what I mean. That's square, clothing, gear, and the look, your personality, who you are, and how you come off to people. And then thinking beyond the box, because God created universes. And that's the way I view it, so that's the way I gave it. Thank you so much for joining me tonight for this topic. I'm praying and hoping that these things grow. As you know, I use social media for my platforms. Facebook is dwindling. TikTok and Instagram are used for various things. I have been on Clubhouse for a few months now and been chiming in and out on people's topics. So I decided to use this on my Monday platforms and continue to use Facebook for my Tuesdays until that is phased out. So please share if you know anyone who has the app and who has an iPhone. Please share with them. I do have other topics that are going to be coming up pretty soon. Let's see where we are. If you can still hear me, the next one, are you willing to grow? So the next topic will be, are you willing to grow? And so I'm so excited about that one because I'm going to really bring some people to the room to dissect and bring up some things. All right, so I wrote a book back last year called The Community Outreach, Effective Community Outreach Strategies, and the ICE method, and I want to use this for those who have a pen and pad out, and it's called the ICE method. That's like the ice that we chill in the refrigerator, ICE, and these are the 3 I's: ideas, innovation, and implementations. Then I have the 4 C's: connect, collaborate, create, and change. Then we have the 4 E's: enlighten, educate, empower, and energize. And then we have our I's: idea, innovation, and implementation. So what's your vision? How will you present that vision? Innovation: what could you do differently to get people interested in utilizing your services? Implementation: how will you put your ideas and innovations at work? How will you edge it in stone? Then our C's: connect. What's your method to reach out to people you're serving? Collaborate: how will you establish a working relationship with leaders, community partners, and sponsors? Create: what are the correlations with you and your working relationships? Change: what quality of services you provide and to ensure that you're delivering positive and maximal results. And the last but not least, the E's: enlighten. How are you letting people know about your new information and the best ways to serve them? Educate: how will you teach people or your community what you know? Empower: how will you encourage your community partners and community leaders? And the last one of the E's is energize. What incentives could you provide to keep the people, customers, community ready to be involved and consistent? I can share those with you. If you have not purchased my book, you can go ahead and purchase that if you would like. But it's really helpful with your personal, professional, and your spirituality. No matter what someone believes in, some people say religious. Religious is traditional, doing something repetitively over and over, something you believe in. But everyone has a belief system, no matter what it is. I don't care if you believe in green aliens. That's a belief system. So everyone has a belief system. So the ICE method helps you with your professional, personal, and business perspectives in life. So before I go,